Hello and welcome back to the Join Dota League season number 3 here on HeflaTV 2. We're going to have another series with Invasion Esports. This time they're going to be facing up against Kingdom here in Division 1 of the Asian region. As for your casters today, I'm GranithV, and unfortunately Mike Loris had to go and do some stuff. I have no idea what he's doing. But for Game 1, I'm not going to be joined by him. He'll be back for Game 2, so hopefully you won't get too tired of hearing my voice over and over again. And we'll be able to proceed without anything too interesting. Invasion Esports just got 2-0'd by First Departure, but I think up against Kingdom, they have a little bit of a better shot, I would say. First Departure, their drafts were unconventional and they were glorious. They were able to take some pretty convincing wins just playing hyper-aggressive. They were not perfect by any means, and first game was pretty close towards either side, but second game, I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched it or weren't here for that game, I would say go ahead and check out the VOD at youtube.com/HeflaMoke if you want to watch it, because it is a pleasure. Night Stalker, worked wonders for them. It was a lot of fun to watch their drafts, but this draft in this game looks like it's going to be a little bit more vanilla, or at least at the start. We are going to have Doom faces Void banned out, oh my goodness, by Kingdom, and then the bans from Invasion Esports are going to be the Lycanthrope as well as Brewmaster. No big surprises there, although the cream of the crop is available for the supports if Kingdom want to snag up both of theirs. Death Prophet is the first pick for Invasion Esports. Already offering a lot of pushing power, even if they don't fully commit to a pushing lineup, Death Prophet can still function pretty solidly just on our own. If you get an early level 11, those towers are going to absolutely melt. Yep, sorry about that. Yeah, hopefully there's no current issues. Earlier on in the day, we had a couple of frames dropped on OBS, but I don't think that was on my end, as there were several other streams that also had issues, so I think that was a Twitch thing. Either way, if there is any problems, I'll keep my eye on it, but hopefully that won't be an issue. Kingdom pick up themselves a Razor, and I think they'll probably snag one of their supports as well, although offliners are still abounding in this pool, but they'll go for the Earthshaker. No big surprises there. Earthshaker, really solid support. I don't think there's a position where Earthshaker is bad, and if you're playing aggressively, the Fissure is amazing. If you're playing defensively, Fissure is amazing. If you're playing kind of middle of the road and you're just kind of stacking, pulling, waiting for a Blink Dagger, Fissure is amazing. I think the only part, as a support that Earthshaker falls short in is his laning stage is kind of weak, as he is a melee hero and he can abuse the jungle. But other than that, he's just a really solid all-round hero. Invasion Esports picked themselves up the center Warner. Both teams pick up a good mix as far as what they're going to start off their lineups with. They have some good initiation from the Earthshaker and the Centaur Warner, some decent pushing power and laning stage coming out from Death Prophet and Razor. Next ban, Scarth Mage taken out by Invasion Esports. No big surprises. I'd expect the Shadow Shaman to also be banned out. As far as other top tier heroes that are still available in the pool, we might see a Viper for Invasion Esports to pick up the mechanism for their team to take that burden off of the Death Prophet. Although I've seen quite a few teams that do prioritize the mechanism on their DPs. It gives a little bit of extra tank, and she's a hero that can afford to use that little bit of extra mana and can be pretty flexible with her item choices. Ancient Apparition, the ban out from Kingdom. A hero that we saw last game to great effect played by First Departure, although Ancient Apparition is a hero, I still don't think he's, I don't know, worth the pick, honestly. It would negate the mechanism from Kingdom, it's fine. But I don't know, I'm not sure if I'd be scared of the Ancient Apparition in this game. I think the Shadow Shaman is more or less the scarier hero. But then again, it might be forcing Invasion into that ban, whereas they didn't really want to ban it out and they had something else in mind that they wanted to take out of the hands of Kingdom. If they don't, I'd expect that to be our pickup from Kingdom. Would offer some more pushing power for themselves, as well as a decent supporting duo. Probably one of the premier ones. Scarth Mage, Earthshaker, and Shadow Shaman, pick two. That's your supporting duo. Yep. In this game we go. I have a lot of gunk still in my throat, so I'll try to mute the mic if I do have to cough or do that business. It's terrible, I know, but it is very early in the morning, and sometimes, I don't know, stuff happens, allergies, you know. But yeah, as for Invasion, they're taking quite a lot of time for this ban. This is pretty much the time where they have to think of what they want to let through the pool. And then Kingdom, they have a decent amount of time of their own to pick up their next two heroes, the ban as well as the pick. After this, it's hands off the keyboard for Invasion, figuratively. They're going to ban out the Viper. I think that's a solid ban, although I'm not sure I would have been the biggest fan of that for Kingdom. It would lock down their lanes very heavily, and they'd have a lot of very good laning heroes. Razor and Viper, they kind of function in the same fashion. In any lineup, really, they're going to presumably be the tanky mechanism carrier that's going to win their lane. Razor and Viper, for all intents and purposes, are the same hero in that respect. They do different things in different matchups, and they have a different peak of power. but it's more or less the same. Getting both of them on the same team is kind of a little bit redundant. But yeah, we are going to see what Kingdom have in mind for their next hero. Presumably still needing another support, and our offlaner, another core. Their core, I think, is going to be the Mirana, although roaming Mirana with an Earthshaker definitely can make some work happen if they're comfortable with that combo. You can line up those arrows fairly effectively. Shadowdemon, the pickup from Invasion Esports, partially a deny pick coming out from them, but also combos incredibly well with Centaur Warner. Disruption into the Hoof Stomp, and then Double Edge that's amplified by the Soul Catcher is pretty ridiculous. Anybody on the side of Kingdom is going to fall, maybe with the exception of Razor, if he does pick up some decent amount of tank, Mechanism, and Aghanim Scepter, then he'll be pretty immune to that. But then again, it's still a really solid combination. Also, a good deny pick coming out for them. I'm okay with this Shadowdemon, although, I'm okay with this. I think their hero that they're going to combo with it is going to be more important than the Shadowdemon. Shadowdemon, he needs somebody else in order to get kills. A standalone Shadowdemon can't do very much. You want something like a Mirana, like a Leshrac, like a Kunkka on your team, and honestly, I'd love to see the Leshrac or Kunkka coming out from Invasion Esports. If Invasion Esports really do want to go off the deep end, there's also Alina, although I think she's kind of overshadowed by the other combos for Shadowdemon. Kingdom here are going to pick up a Lich. I was not expecting this pickup, but it is going to shore up their lanes a lot. A lot of focus on lane domination with them in Invasion Esports. Instead of going for a stun combo with their Shadowdemon, pick themselves up a Dazzle. This supporting duo can keep people alive for so long. Even under normal circumstances, you're going to see this combo getting heroes out where they really shouldn't, and their burst damage early on is pretty ridiculous. Disruption into the wave coming out from the Dazzle is quite possibly the most, and if not very close to it, most damaging level 1 combination that you can have is when you get those 3 units in that are getting hit by the wave coming up from the Dazzle, it's going to do a ridiculous amount of physical damage, and most heroes don't start out with that great of armor, and it's going to sting like none other. And if they combo that with the Centaur Warner, that tri-lane could really do some major hurt to Kingdom. Yeah, not a huge fan of the Lich pickup, to be honest, coming out from Kingdom. Not the biggest Lich fan of overall. I think picking up the Shadow Shaman as your support would have been better. It gives you more setup for the arrow. Fissure into Shackles, then the arrow would be a lot more solid as far as setup is concerned. And Earthshaker and Shadow Shaman can make things happen alone. This is also going to bump the Mirana into more of a core position, which honestly I'm not the biggest fan of. She functions best when she's rotating, but Kingdom, they pick themselves up a Pugna. This Pugna is pretty much just going to be a standalone pushing hero in this lineup, and honestly I'm not a huge fan of it. It's going to give them Decrepify, which is nice. In other words, useful versus the heroes. It's useful versus most heroes. And Invasion don't have the greatest ways to destroy that Netherward. But then again, their mana usage isn't that high. Death Prophet spinning out Cryptstorm, she's going to be annoyed by it, but that's about it. Lich doesn't synergize well with the Pugna. Pugna just seems like a sore thumb in this lineup. Razor can do well in a Pugna lineup. It just doesn't seem like enough. Kingdom, they're going to need to play incredibly well. And not to take anything away from them, but I like Invasion Esports lineup a lot better. Their combos are pretty straightforward, and they'll be able to do a lot more with their combination. Centaur that gets a Blink Dagger can initiate fairly free-handedly, and Kingdom don't have the greatest ways to initiate. Really, the only way that they can is Fissure into Arrow, and unless Earthshaker gets a ridiculously timed Blink Dagger, which can happen. Not going to take that away from the Earthshaker. He definitely can get that Blink Dagger, but I think that Invasion are bringing things that are safer to the table. They still have a last pick to shore up their lineup, but they could go for a whole lot of different things. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to a Morphling pick here. With the Shadowdemon on your team, you can do a whole heck of a lot of burst damage, and Pugna, Lich, and Earthshaker, and Mirana, for that fact, are going to fall very quickly to it. He'd be able to fight pretty early with the waveform, and I don't see a Morphling dying. With Strength Morph, there's very little that Kingdom could actually do about it, and I think it would be a solid last pick for them, but no, they go for something altogether different in the Lone Druid. I'm okay with this. Ice Armor is going to be useful against him, as is the Pugna Decrepify. But Lone Druid can still transition very well into towers. I still would have liked to see something more along the lines of the Morphling, maybe a little bit later game of the hero. Kingdom, they have tools to kite around this Lone Druid, or just negate his impact in these team fights. My mouse has completely disappeared. Hey, there we are. But yeah, Razor is pretty good against Lone Druid. I don't know, I think just too much of a delayed hero, for my taste. Either way, that is going to be the pickup. I still like Invasion Esports lineup better. I think that about sums it up. This bear, if it gets up the early Radiance, Mirana Lich, Pugna, Earthshaker, everybody on the side of Kingdom are not going to be able to really stand up against that. But then again, you do have a lone Druid that's not going to be getting as much as you usually see, if that is an aggressive trialing from Kingdom, which I don't see a compelling reason why not. If they can get that trialing matchup versus the lone Druid, he's not going to be doing all that much. Looks like we might be looking at a remake. Player is back. Huh. I have no idea what's going on, and it looks like we are going to have a remake. Very well, so thanks for sticking through. I have no idea why that remake was there. I think they just had somebody show up late. I really hate when we have remakes like that, but apparently the NA team's okay with it, and in we go. I think this was the broadcast channel I was in. But yeah, now you get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes at HeflaTV while we wait to get into this draft, and honestly, I am really missing Mike Loris right about now, as usually during these times I'd have somebody to talk to, but I'm not going to. This remake should be pretty fast, although we're still waiting a lot of the heroes and players from Kingdom to get back into the game. Oh dear. Yeah, I think the biggest leeway is that this game did start earlier than it was supposed to, and so I think that's fine. But yeah, now you start late, 10 minutes in. Invasion are not going to be so happy with this, but I think they're going to be fine. It's okay, I think. Yep. Very well. During this time, I can keep an eye on the chat, so, oh no, it looks like chat is pretty much dead, even with, decent amount of viewers. We're still very lackluster as far as the, spams and whatnot is concerned. We have a single Kappa in our chat. I will respond to this wonderful Kappa, and that's it. Sorry about that. I would love to see this chat be lively. This is the best time for it, as I can actually see what's going on. As a solo caster, it's very difficult to actually keep track of everything that's going on, but thanks to all the viewers for sticking around. Despite having a little bit of a delay and whatnot. Yeah. I don't see them as stand-ins. Huh. Very, very peculiar. Star's the only one that looks like a stand-in for me. And I think that's how it's supposed to happen. Yeah. Team name is all fixed. And we should be good to go very shortly. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. It's very hard to theorycraft where these lanes are actually going to work out for everybody, and why hello. You know, I can't actually talk in chat until we get into this remake. Hopefully the remake starts very quickly. Come on, just waiting on one more player from Invasion. But yeah, there is a 2-minute delay on stream, so if you are saying something in chat, I'm not going to be able to respond to or talk about it immediately. But I can see the chat live, and there we go. Some extra kappas. We have amplified our kappa per minute, which is wonderful. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to be casting. There's not much that I can actually talk about. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I have any fun stories to tell. Nothing's really happened since the last time I cast. We cast some pretty late night American Dota. So I kind of just went to sleep and I woke up, and Southeast Asian Dota, it is the life of a caster, I suppose. Okay, well, yeah, I feel really bad because they actually can see my friends list and stuff. Yeah. This is, as far as everybody on my friends list is concerned, you can see that several of them are just fellow casters that are currently on HeflaTV 1. We have Blackouter and Coucher that are over there. If you want to watch some Dota that's happening now, you can check out some MPGL that is happening. I'm not sure who's actually playing, but that's a pretty good place to go. Yeah, everybody else is pretty boring. Yeah, just usually friends that I've met either through tournaments that I play pubs with and whatnot. It's not all that impressive. Yep. Let's see. My pub experience through the last couple of days has been pretty fun. After a long time of not playing the hero, I picked up Meepo again, and I just had a blast spam picking him. As much as people might hate me for it, my win rate on Meepo is actually pretty good. Yeah, the first time I played Meepo was, like, a couple months ago, and I fed ridiculously. I, like, lost 3 games in a row, and it was terrible. But there we go. Looks like we're ready to get back in this game. But yeah. Story short, my Meepo win rate over the last couple of days is amazing. So into the game we go, and no more stalling from me. Game starting in 2 minutes. Hooray. Okay. So there we go, into the game. We are going to commence as soon as everybody loads in, and then I'll be able to introduce our players. This is going to be an all-pick remake, so no going through any of the rigmarole of going through the draft again. It should be pretty straightforward, so, well, thanks for sticking around. It's so awkward having those pauses, especially when you're solo casting. At least when I have my Glorious here or somebody else, I can strike up a conversation with them, but pretty much it's just me talking to the air, especially when the chat is more or less empty. Yeah, we have some faces showing themselves, but it's not the usual ones, as, I don't know, usually I'm casting in the evening. Oh, Jehoshaphat, Kingdom! Pick up an Abaddon, Ike! We have to have another remake! I hate you. Oh. We have to remake. I think you actually do have to report 2D. That ticks me off. Why? You're the ones that begged for the remake, and now we have to get out of this again. Invasion, repick a Chaos Knight. Yeah, we're repicking. Might as well pick Techies for all it's worth. Dear. Okay, well, let's see what's happening in the chat. Yeah, everybody's disconnected. Into the second remake we go. I was so excited that we'd have a game, and we didn't have a game. Yeah, I haven't actually played Dota for that long. I started playing at about TI3. I'd seen Dota before since I'd play, Warcraft 3. Yeah, so it's cool to see new faces in chat. But yeah, I'm not extremely new, although I'm not a very familiar face for most people. Yep. Yeah, I haven't been casting very much Southeast Asian Dota, as it's just at a very inconvenient time for me. I have to wake up very early, at least in my time zone, in order to catch it. And usually if I'm casting American Dota the day before, I can't actually make the timing here. But the American Dota games yesterday were early, and the Southeast Asian games were late, so that lines up perfectly for me, so I can actually get a full night's rest before jumping into Southeast Asian Dota. So that's wonderful. And, well, hopefully, nobody will screw up and pick a Abaddon, and we can all get into this game. So thanks for sticking through after many technical difficulties. It's just kind of the curse of JDL and Southeast Asian Dota all together. Yeah, Coucher is currently casting at HeflaTV 1.
Always wondered where mountains come from.
Yeah, Mike Loris is going to be joining me for Game 2. So, hope to see you soon. Yep, the chat, I forgot to, well, that's about all I can actually look at the chat since we're actually going to have a game starting here. So if there are any technical issues, shout at me there and hopefully I'll check it periodically. But yeah, solo casting, it's tough to keep track of everything and make sure that nothing's going wrong. I haven't screwed up the overlays yet, so we'll call that a win. Into Invasion versus Kingdom we go, as nobody screws up their picks. Remakes are something that a lot of people have issues with, and it's because of little screw-ups like that. It's really frustrating. Okay, well, after quite a long hiatus from actually looking at Dota, we are going to get into this game sooner rather than later. About 10 seconds before everybody loads in. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it's gotta go, and into the game we will. happen into. Hopefully we don't start off with a pause, although I'm not going to put it past them, as that's pretty standard. Par for the course, if you will. But on our Radiant side, we are going to have Invasion Esports with FZFZ playing on the Centaur, Warner, Ghost on the Lone Druid, Kizik Imba on the Death Prophet, presumably going mid, ADTR on the Dazzle, which will leave, last but not least, OK on the Shadow Demon. On the Dire side, we are going to have Kingdom with Star on the Pugna, Razor, played by Smashy, their offlane hero, or offlane heroes rather. It looks like 2D going to be playing in the Mirana. We're going to have Lich, played by Fruits, and Yuma Kanpaku playing on the Earthshaker. Oh my goodness, I'm sure I'm butchering that name like none other, but you know, American tongue and whatnot. Yeah, some early rotations coming up from Spirit Bear, as well as the Dazzle, probably just going to play some casual wards. Looks like we might be having some ping issues, so hopefully it's not too terrible. Invasion did take a little bit longer to get back in the game. Oh dear. So it looks like Kingdom are having really good luck with their servers right now. 5 MS is like crazy. But yeah, Invasion, hopefully they're not having issues. Oh dear. Yeah, Singapore net, best net, I suppose. In we go. Yeah. The early rotations are not going to come out from either team, so the first blood is probably not going to be for quite some time, and it looks like we're going to have a dual lane situation coming out from Kingdom here with the Earthshaker and Razor heading up top. I don't like this choice, to be honest. Earthshaker might just place a ward then go down towards bottom, but they're sacrificing a whole lot of killing potential for not a lot of extra pressure on this lone Druid. Earthshaker will run the pulling operations, which is wonderful. More power to him, but I think it's a mistake, honestly. This bottom lane is going to lose, and the top lane is not going to win convincingly either. Lone Druid currently pulling the creep aggro, and there's very little they can actually do about it, just playing Ring Around the Rosies with these creeps. Yep. Pocket full of posies, ashes, they're all going to fall down below the tower. But this bear is going to get blocked in. No, fissure thrown out. And I think this bear is just dead. Oh dear, that's the worst way to start this game. We can almost count this as the first blood. It's going to be the longest darn first blood you've ever seen. But Lone Druid losing his bear is not where he wants to start off this game. And that's going to be 300 gold. No, Earthshaker screwed up the last hit, but experience going his way. Starting off the game at above level 2. And now we have a lag spike coming out from Invasion. They are going to wait. 2D took a lot of damage down bottom. I think he just ate the Dazzle Bomb. From the Shadow Demon Disruption into the Shadow Wave coming out from the Dazzle. But yeah. That bear dying is pretty bad for the Lone Druid, although it's not as bad as it could have been, as the Earthshaker didn't get the last hit. No bear available for about a minute for the Lone Druid. It's not happy times for him. Yeah, Earthshaker going to be very happy with how he started out the experience, and I think he's at the top of the experience board, and actually, I'm almost sure of it. The Pugna's also at level 2, but just barely. Earthshaker is going to find himself an early start. It's unfortunate he didn't get that extra 300 gold. That could have been boots into the Earthshaker's pocket. But yeah. Lone Druid just got out of a very awkward situation. That stinks, man. Sorry about it. Yeah, mid lane matchup is going to be Death Prophet versus the Pugna. To start us off, it's fairly even. I expect it to stay that way. Both heroes can spam out. Both have fairly even range. Death Prophet working with a little bit more base damage because she opted for the Null Talisman first. But it's more or less going to be the same in this matchup. Bottom lane, with the disruption into the Hoof Stomp as well as the Shadow Demon, or Dazzle Heal Bomb, it's going to be too much for anybody to really deal with. If they line up that Hoof Stomp before the Mirana can leap away, which he was forced to level up in order to stay safe in this lane, they're going to be doing very little. I actually hate this laning situation from Kingdom, and it's not making me like their lineup any better. Yeah, hopefully the Death Prophet will get back into this game before long. But yeah, more awkward pauses as I have nothing else to talk about. I've kind of gone through the lanes. As far as the ability of either team to use the jungle, it's very limited. The Lone Druid can farm it eventually, but you're not going to be stacking early for him. These supports are going to be pretty happy with how they are in their respective lanes. Shadow Demon Dazzle is a decent roaming combo if you have other lockdown in that lane, but Death Prophet can't really get very many kills. That said, Pugna, let's just do a little bit of napkin math while we're at it. The Dazzle Weave is going to be hitting onto 3 targets guaranteed, times 80, that's going to be 240, reduced by only 1 armor of the Pugna, more or less 200 pure damage, going to burst him down very easily. Disruption, those illusions are also going to hit, and that's going to line up a Crypt Storm, so if they gank this Pugna, he's going to die if he oversteps his bounds. Although, yeah, not sure if I said that very clearly or you followed me at all. But either way, they don't have a smoke on either of these two heroes, okay, and ADTR. Are not going to be looking to rotate. And, well, I guess as I have the time, I'll make sure that the stream is going well. And, oh my goodness. Oh, Mike Loras, he came back and he is too late. This is unfortunate. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, as far as which one is better, Southeast Asia or North America, I think that Southeast Asia is actually the better scene as far as how close the games are. North America is very top-heavy. You have some teams that are really good, and then a lot of teams that aren't very good. So the games are very unreliable. Really, we only have EG that really does well, and most of the other players that are top tier have kind of been dissipated out. I mean, you also have Team Tinker, I suppose, are American. But yeah, just the American scene in general isn't as nicely developed. There's not big sponsors going into it that have these tournaments for American teams. There's like jDL and there's small stuff like TECS and what have you, but it's not as big, I suppose. So yeah, I would say that the Southeast Asia scene is probably better, although the American scene has a lot more potential to grow. Just nobody's investing into it right now. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm kind of crossing my fingers for a remake so we can get Mike Loras back in the stream. But he'll at least be here for game number 2. So, as unfortunate it is that you have to listen to my voice throughout the rest of this, and, well, you have to listen to me while we're waiting for this game to actually continue. Through this pause, Death Prophet still hasn't reconnected, and I have no idea what this Death Prophet is doing. I wish teams would communicate a little bit more what's actually wrong. I mean, they said lag, and then boom. I'm going to assume he's restarting his PC, but even that probably shouldn't take that long. I mean, Kiilstofte, I would hope his PC isn't like 20 years old. I don't know. Maybe I'm just antsy and want to get into this Dota game. Also, a very probable cause here. Bugna is going to be saving up for his bottle, going to have it a lot faster than Death Prophet, mostly due to their starting item builds. So the Pugna Blast spam is going to come out, but Death Prophet can keep her wave pretty far away from her tower just by spamming out these Crypt Swarms. So I don't think that this lane equilibrium is really going to leave this region here. Unfortunately, I can't actually draw on the screen here, but I can doodle on the map. Yeah. And it's actually really broken when you draw directly on the map. You have to draw it on the floor for it to not be broken. Okay, very peculiar. Lots of pause bugs with drawing. I wish they'd fix that, because this is the time that I'd actually want to draw on the map. During the game, there's a couple moments where you're just like, okay, I'll doodle there. But it's not as impressive. Let's see. He is coming, so this is good news from Invasion, is we're actually going to have some news at all. That said, if you do want to watch Dota that's going on now, Titan versus, let's see, who's actually playing them, is going on twitch.tv/HeflaTV1, where you get to watch the beautiful Coucher cast some Dota with Mr. Blackadder. It's really fun to watch those two casts, especially with Blackadder. I love his voice. It's amazing. But yeah, it is going to be Titan versus Insidious Idol. So as slow as this game is going on right now, you can find yourself some Dota if you want to watch it immediately. That said, we should have game number 2 coming out without any issues. Oh my goodness, I hope not. Yeah, the curse is real, the curse is real. It seems that every cast that me and Michael are involved in, something has to go wrong. In this game, it's Lubby picking up an... or is it Lubby? No, it was... no, 2D, there we go. The other E name. It is going to be him picking up an Abaddon. So Flame this Mirana, he messed up and made us have a remake, and then the remake had server issues, but hey! We have our Death Prophet back in this game, as Kiilstofte is going to find himself back in with the living here, as we should be able to go underway shortly. The hopes aren't high for a lot of action, as these dual lanes coming out from Kingdom are going to be fairly defensive. There's going to be an apology in all chat, and we probably should be good to go very shortly. Oh, on Z team, so let's have it happen. Pings are coming out from blue, and we are good to go. If ready, go. Fruits is going to say it. G coming out from Kiilstofte, and resume. The game will be back into it. 2D, not looking too healthy, not going to salve up either. He's just going to tango up. If he gets caught out by the disruption, he's going to probably die despite having leap. I think it's still pretty easy to set up those hoof stomps, and okay, just by being there is going to zone out 2D. This Mirana is going to do nothing. I can already see it. She's not farming incredibly well, 0 and 0 in fact. She might pick up a couple under tower. It's just not looking good for them. She doesn't have arrow level 1, there's nothing that she can do to set up kills, and the best she can hope for is not dying. She'll get her level 2 now, and that's going to be arrow available, which is useful. Don't get me wrong, but it's not enough killing potential. Lich setting up with Frost Blast into arrow is just not going to cut it. We are going to have a pull coming out from the Radiant team. They are going to pull through. I think that's going to be successful towards the median camp. They'll kill out those creeps, and there you go. Centaur's going to be left alone, but he definitely can do this. He doesn't have a stout shield or points in return, but still under tower. He's decently tanky enough and has enough tankos in order to do so. Level 2 on your Centaur, now going to have double edge available, and this Mirana needs to be super careful. Disruption, however, going to land on the fruits. They don't have the nuke coming out from the Dazzle or the Hoof Stomp, so it's just going to be zoning from both sides, and OK is going to be forced to munch through a couple of tangos. There is boots first on that Shadow Demon, although not the most mana. He can still do quite a bit. Imba eats a good portion of damage, as the Pugna might be the one that gets caught out here. He does have an Invis rune, and I don't think they have much detection. They do have a Sentry, and they might have been able to go for that, but the Centaur is too far away. He eats a Frost Blast, and yeah, these passive lanes are really getting to me. This Earthshaker just pulling non-stop. He's currently level 3, which is fine for your Earthshaker. He's doing well. Mostly due to the kill on the bear, and this bear, he's gonna get blocked off. I don't think there's anything to munch through tangos, and he is stuck. Why did the bear stop moving? Move your darn bear. He's just waiting for the fissure to block off, and it is going to come through, but this bear is not looking too healthy, and he can't actually do it as the first blood's going to come out in the Lich and bottom. In fact, it's a disruption into Heal Bomb Hoof Stomp combo that I've been talking about all throughout this game is going to come out and give them a kill. Invisible Rune popped by the Pugna just to refuel his bottle so he can spam up these waves anymore. But yeah, that's the danger of this bottom lane. If you get caught by the disruption while the Centaur is there, you're dead. It's as simple as that. Centaur now sitting on 1,200 gold thereabouts. This Blink Dagger is going to be incredibly fast. Pugna Ward, annoying for the Death Prophet, but now just going to be a little bit more gold in her pocket as she picks that one up. Now Boots and Bottle on both of these heroes, I think. Yeah, it's going to be available. I actually didn't expect the Lich to get caught out there. I thought they'd just play very defensively back and have Fruits continue to spam out his deny, which is as much as you can ask for a Lich, but he just got too aggressive, cut out by disruption, easy kill. Dazzle rotating mid with the Shadow Demon in tow. They're going to disrupt up. Now we're going to see that Napkin Math coming into fact as the nuke damage is too much. Heal Bomb, Crypt Storm, all that she wrote. I didn't even take into consideration the Soul Catcher on top, but that was there as well. This duo of the Dazzle as well as Shadow Demon setting up some really major kills, and now Dazzle going to sit on the top rune, Shadow Demon on the bottom. Death Prophet going to find herself a nice tasty rune. Currently sitting mid while she's waiting for it to actually spawn, and it is going to spawn up top next to Dazzle. Illusion Rune, not the most useful, but it's going to be enough. Cryptstorm thrown out before she refuels her bottle, just going to use as much of the mana as she can. She'll probably pop that pretty quickly, and then use that to put some pressure on this Pugna, but Pugna, as a mid hero, is very easily ganked. He has no innate escapes, he has Decrepify, but that's about it. And up against the Death Prophet, that's just going to amplify the Crypt Swarm damage. It might avoid a little bit of the Dazzle's physical burst, but it's still probably not worth it. Lone Druid up top has gotten literally nothing. 4 and 1, he's currently sitting at level 3, which is okay. It's not the worst. About tied with the Lich. This Lone Druid's going to be so long getting online, and if they wanted to pick an offlane hero, I would have thought that something else entirely would have been better. Honestly, I think just going for a different safe laner instead of the Centaur and put the Centaur towards the offlane would have worked out better, and maybe just secure the Lone Druid some safe lane farm. I don't think that's terrible either, as since they're not going aggressive, Kingdom aren't able to accomplish much. Earthshaker sitting mid, defending the Pugna if things go south for him, but I don't think he'll be able to get a kill. No level 6 on the Pugna, no Decrepify either. Pugna currently sending just a finished wand to himself. Pulls galore from both sides as Dazzle and Shadow Demon both at level 3 and level 4 on our Earthshaker looking for a block on Lone Druid. If he gets blocked in, he's probably going to die, but he should play defensively enough to where that's not going to happen. Under tower, he's getting a little bit more farm, as it's very easy to last it with Lone Druid under tower. Having the 2 auto attacks on call is always useful. Shadow Demon, Dazzle, another smoke, and if they catch up the Pugna is just going to die. One combo of that nuke is going to be enough, and he's going to run towards the south, and now the fissure block onto OK. OK's going to die under tower, or will he? The heal's going to come out, it's not going to be enough. It's Frostblast from Lich. Going to secure that one. Now ADTR going to throw nothing else, just walks awkwardly back into tower range. They're going to lose their Pugna. It seems only one Crypt Storm is needed to get that kill, but not enough mana on the Death Prophet. They won't be able to get it. Everybody on the side of Kingdom that was already there to start out is incredibly low, but they're going to survive. 8 stick charges on Death Prophet. I think you just go for that, to be honest. I think that the Pugna kill is a little too juicy to let go. 111 HP, definitely would have died to a maxed out Crypt Sword. Invisibility Rune, bottled up by the Death Prophet. The rune control of this game has been pretty on point. Kisik Imba is going to be happy about it, and he's going to spam out Fruits. But yeah, bottom lane going well for them. The Centaur not getting as much now that the supports are off, and Rana also getting a little bit more, but still this Blink Dagger is going to come out at a very fast timing for a Centaur. Not going to back off for any Tranquil Boots, no garbage like that. Just 1 or 2 more waves is all he's going to need. Probably going to see it at about 7.5 minutes. And at that point, the Centaur Warner is the scariest hero on this map for Kingdom. Any one of these heroes, if they're caught out by the Centaur, is going to die. Maybe not the Razor. Maybe not the Razor. With 834 HP as well as 1 point up into the unstable current, he'll be decently tanky. He's going to be working towards the mech next. But now, we do have a Shadow Demon joining the Centaur and bottom, and he just needs 2 more creeps. Come on, come on. Let's get him here. And yeah, once they have that, it's not going to be safe anywhere on the map for pretty much any hero. Leap on the Mirana is not going to be a guaranteed escape from that. They don't have level 6 just yet, but this is your timing that your Centaur is going to hit. 7 and 10 seconds for the Blink Dagger as well as Centaur Ultimate, and I think Mirana is in for a bit of a treat here. Let's see, she's playing defensively enough for now, but if she walks past this line, I think she's dead. Centaur is going to back off, however, and Mirana is going to stay pretty safe here. 2D now going forward, but it's not going to matter. Disruption, or rather, Shadow Demon, going to be farming up in the lane as they're just waiting for this Mirana to make a mistake. I would have liked to see the Centaur maybe rotate towards another lane, as 30 seconds of this Blink Dagger timing is going to be more or less wasted. The Pugna's a much easier kill. You can jump on him from pretty much anywhere, and it is nighttime, and they don't have any vision. Although they don't know that, it is the case, and Pugna would be pretty easy pickings. Death Prophet, her first item is not going to be decided just yet, as she is CSing the best in this game, 49-12, as well as doing pretty well. Stampede's dropped as they're looking for the Lich. They're going to find a double edge onto him. The air is going to land on FCFC, and Frusty's going to survive. So is the Centaur with the Grave. He is going to live. Will that last tick of damage be there? No, it won't, and Centaur Warner is going to survive. He is going to die, or kill the Dazzle off. Pugna getting that last hit, but 1 HP for the Centaur Warner is all that he's going to need, as he'll be able to walk his way back to base. So Dazzle giving up his life for the Centaur, a worthy trade, but not where Invasion really wanted to be. They also got the Lich, so after all is said and done, 1-for-1 our support trade here, over by the Roshan pit. Arrow, was looking at bottom, and she's actually gonna find OK. OK's dead. Wow, shoot arrow, hit arrow. I didn't think Shadow Demon would die there. I thought at the very worst he'd be able to get a quick finger self-disruption off to avoid that arrow, but it's not enough. He'll be caught out, and that arrow is too long in order to actually defend against him. Just not paying attention, I suppose. Mechanism going to ignore a lot of this Corpse Storm damage coming out from the Death Prophet, and slowly but surely the Pugna chips are going to be enough to drop down this tower. He doesn't have enough mana for another blast, and still quite a ways away from it. Currently sending out some bracer bits. This Pugna, he's died once and he hasn't been doing that well in lane, but now with the Fissure going away, the Death Prophet, they jump on the Centaur for a beautiful hoof stomp onto 3, double edge onto the Pugna. They'll burst him down with the Death Prophet Crypt Swarm. They're not able to find any more, but they TP in some backup to defend this tier 1 tower. They're missing a lot on this map, but Lone Druid's left alone right now, and this is exactly how the Lone Druid wants to be left. Phase Boots, Orb of Venom on the Bear, and Tranquil Boots on his hero. I like this build a lot more than the one that I've been seeing as of late, where he just goes super greedy and don't upgrade the boots. I think this is the best way to go. Is just chasing people down with the Orb of Venom as well as the Phase Boots. It's really solid, and if you can get a root, there's very few heroes that can actually survive against that. And with the extra movement speed eventually coming out from Rabbit, they'll be able to chase down those heroes very effectively. It's going to be pretty scary for them to deal with, and I think this is your best way to go about getting that faster Relic into Radiance. He did not die at all in this lane, although he did give up his bear, which slowed down his farm. Now he's caught up pretty admirably. We are going to look at a Lone Druid that's actually going to have an impact when I thought he wouldn't. Death Prophet rotating up towards top with an invisibility rune. And, well, Razor linking away that bear. Bear is going to be forced out. It's a level 2 link, I think, from our Razor, so it's not the end of the world for the bear, but currently hitting it only 59 damage. It's not that great, but still, if they get a root onto this Earthshaker, he's gonna die. Let's see. They're not gonna play aggressively just yet. They're gonna push out this wave. Death Prophet is stalking him in the Earthshaker. He's coming a little too close. The bear's gonna chase him down. Although he's too far away, the leash range is going to secure the Earthshaker his safety. Radiant structures are fortified, mostly due to that mid-tier 1 tower taking a little bit of Pugna Blast damage, but it's going to fall after this if they don't commit a lot of heroes. Centaur's going to come back, and he does have the Blink Hoof Stomp. Let's see if he's going to connect. If he finds the Pugna, it's going to be a pretty easy kill, but then again, you're diving straight into the Razor, which is not something you can really afford to do. He's going to back off, waiting for the Dazzle to lose the tower. Will he be able to find anybody on the tree? The answer is no. Despite getting a very fast Blink Dagger on the Centaur Warner, it hasn't had the impact that I thought it would. still hanging around, but he's completely spotted out by these creeps that are following him, so he won't be able to find anything. At 11 minutes in, this is a pretty good time to look at our graphs for the first time in this game, but they're really not telling. It's pretty even on both sides. This gold advantage for Invasion is going to dip down very heavily after that tier 1 tower fell. I'm probably going to get close to 1,000, and there you go. Down to 1,000 it is, and the experience advantage is negligible, about 1,000 there as well. Tier 1 tower in mid looks like it's going to fall in turn for Invasion. His Exorcism is popped with the matched out Witchcraft tier, and slowly but surely they'll go for it. The Hoofstomp going to be off the market. Bungo is down towards the south. Fissure going to nicely catch out too. They're stunned, but there's no follow-up for it. The Pugna Blast is not going to land, or is it on the Death Prophet? Center ultimate going to keep her safe. The arrow to fly, it's not going to land, but the Starfall looks like it will. The Plasma Field not going to clip onto Kesagimba, and Kesagimba going to survive with 5 HP. Deny coming up from the neutrals. He's going to find it whether he wanted it or not. It's going to happen, so not the worst, not the best for the Death Prophet. I thought he might have been able to get out of there, but then again, it's better than giving up your life. Bottom lane, Shadow Demon might need to be a little bit more careful than he is now. We have an arrow coming his way pretty shortly from the Mirana. Ooh, where we're gonna throw it. 2D, come on, they're gonna start things off with the Fissure. There's the Earthshaker, now into the arrow. Not even thrown out by 2D, they're just sapping all of his damage away, and now they're just gonna zap him down with the Razor. We need one more auto attack. The arrow not gonna be necessary as the Plasma Field comes through, as well as the right clicks. No backup for the poor little Shadow Demon, and they're gonna take this tier 1 tower pretty effectively. But that said, Lone Druid finds himself one up top and saving admirably towards his relic. About halfway there. And Lone Druid's going to be happy with his place in the game. He gets himself a tower. What more can he ask? Despite Kingdom getting better trades as far as kills are concerned, as well as getting more towers, they're grouping up very heavily, and Invasion are better able to abuse this fact that they're split up. Another tier 1 tower going the way of Invasion. It's going to be more or less just a straight up trade. Invasion, despite losing their Shadow Demon, are going to be happy with that trade, and it looks like it's going to tip them in the favor of gold ever so slightly. Lone Druid still chilling up here on top. And there is a TP in from the Mirana. She is going to chip down on this bear, and now with the Hoofstomp, it's going to catch her, but the leap came forward first. There's not going to be a root just yet. The Orb of Bear is going to chase her down, but I think they need to pull the bear out sooner rather than later. The Fissure comes through onto the bear. Under tower, he's not taking the aggro, however. It is behind him with the creeps. Death Prophet is also here. She has the Crypt Storm, will clean up the creep wave, and now the Exorcism if they want to go for it. Center ultimate, now the Hoofstomp onto 2D. 2D is going to be brought down. There's a Lich ultimate. They've caught him in a beautiful corner, and now the Heal Bomb comes through. They're going to keep the, excuse me, Center alive, but this Lich ultimate's getting a lot of traction as everybody's so darn low. Will they fall? They're going to lose their center on the bottom lines as Razor picks off that kill. Okay, now decrepified up. He's going to need a Pugna Blast. No, he won't. The Pugna Blast is going to be off the mark, and now okay, trying to get out of there. The Fissure, beautifully done from the Earthshaker. Will force okay to run towards the other way, and that's not where you can run. The ultimate coming out from the Pugna is going to be enough. Now Lich just bops him one with the Frost Blast. I think, oh no, he doesn't have the mana for it, and actually, okay, he's going to survive with stick charges. I think he's going to be able to run away. 350 movement speed, 375 on the Lich, as well as the Pugna, but Disruption, I think he's home free. As the Earthshaker Fissure going to be on the mark? I think it's worth throwing it, but he's not even going to try. Wouldn't have been in range. There you go, stick a good item, I suppose. One of the best in the game. I thought he'd already used those, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough. He's going to find himself a free retreat. 5 to 6 our kill score, and the towers, all the tier 1 towers in this game are currently down, with the exception of the ones in the off lane, both teams holding on to theirs. Although, they're not looking incredibly healthy. They're healthy enough. Lone Druid almost nearing that 3,000 gold. 3,800 is what he needs for that relic. Relic is what he's going to be saving up for. I don't think there's a better item to go for this game, but he's going to have it at a decent timing. After picking off 1,000 gold for the Tranquil Boots, as well as 1,500 for the Phase Boots, another 500 or so for his additional items. Usually you'd like to see a relic now if you're just straight up rushing it, but he's not, and it's looking pretty solid for him. Double damage rune popped by the Pugna. He is going to be rushing straight towards an Aghanim Scepter, it seems, and the Pugna doesn't have any boots. Oh, there's his Arcane Boots. He passed them to the Earthshaker, I think, so that they could get that extra value from the Arcane Boots. Excuse me. But yeah, that's going to be the damage of his. We have a smoke coming out from Invasion, looking for a wraparound, potentially on this top lane. This fight is going to go wonderfully for them if they're able to find any pickoffs, and the Pugna and Earthshaker are still sticking around. Ooh, Lich is pretty close. I'm not sure if they're going to find anybody. The Pugna is close. Will they just go for the blind Hoofstomp? It is going to pop, and now they find the Earthshaker blink. Hoofstomp, double edge is going to land on him. Do they have detection on the ground? Will they need it? The dust comes out from the Dazzle. It's going to land on both of them, but the Echo Slam as well as the life drain from the Pugna will pick off the kill on the Centaur. Who's actually got who? And that was not something I was expecting to happen, but a nice Fissure coming out from the Earthshaker as well as the excellent follow-up will get that kill. Now ADTR not looking too good as the body box coming out from Lich. He's going to grave himself up to delay things. He also has a defensive Excuse me, disruption, but it's not gonna be enough. Fissure, Frost Blast, they waited perfectly. Now, disruption onto one is okay, trying to escape. There's nothing to cancel out TP, and he'll be able to make it out to safety, but still, 2 kills, giving the way of Kingdom a little bit more leeway for them. Still Lone Druid farming up towards his Relic, as well as Death Prophet farming up, looking towards her Bloodstone. Still, the items are coming out for Invasion, but they're giving up a little bit more than they probably could be giving up. Yeah, it's still anybody's game, very close. I think the graphs will reflect that. This experience means nothing, or lead means nothing, with the exception of eventual radiance on your bear. And then experience, even less telling, is we're pretty much zeroed out. Pugna, they've been able to get the tier 1 towers with them, but they haven't been able to get much more. The mechanism carrier for their team is the Razor, who has it completed and also working towards his Ags. And the Pugna is going to be happy that he's tanking up a bit, but I think always having the mechanism for your Pugna is going to be more useful. Let's see. Push down and bottom. Invasion have had enough. They get the defensive weave going their way for the extra armor on everybody. They miss the Spirit Bear. I think it still works onto him, but slowly, or maybe not so slowly, they're going to put a lot of damage into this tier 1 tower. The Glyph is going to delay things for about 5 seconds, and we're just waiting for Invasion to keep on pushing this. Despite Kingdom having good positioning, they don't have a good way to jump into this unless they let an arrow. We have a nice Fissure going to block out 2, the Bear as well as the Death Prophet. But this tower is going to fall. Let's see if we see a clutch deny, and no, they're not going to get it as Lone Druid picks himself up the last hit as well as almost a completed Radiance. Only about halfway towards that recipe left. He's going to find himself a really fancy, nice Relic with that extra bit of gold, and Kingdom are going to be pretty happy, or Invasion are going to be pretty happy with how that last fight went. They have the Fissure, and that's it, but we have a smoke. It's not going to be spotted out by the Bear. Although the Bear was body blocked, they might know that something's going on. I think they spotted that out. Dazzle was paying attention, and they're just going to straight up back here. Well played by the Dazzle. It's little things like that that are going to keep you safe. As the smoke's still here. Shadow Demon, oh, okay, is almost not going to be okay as the arrow clips him in the tail. ADTR is going to hit by the Fissure. He's going to get defensively disrupted to save himself for now. I don't think he gets the grave off in time. No, he doesn't. Hoof Stomp, not going to land on anything. Another Life Drain going to FZ. They're going to the Lich Ultimate. It's going to bounce once back towards the Lone Druid, and now back towards the Centaur to get the kill on him. It's bouncing the creeps, so we'll get back to the heroes. Doesn't look like it's going to pop the Lone Druid one more time, but these Lich Ultimates have been really on point from Kingdom. Let's see, they're down towards this tier 2 tower and bottom. Death Prophet is nowhere to be seen. I think they're just going to give this one up. Although with the creep wave not being there, it's going to take quite some time for them to take this. Although Pugna Blasts are going to be in full force, as this Pugna has a full set of mana. Into the tier 2 tower they go, and the Pugna Blasts are going to start chipping, and this is going to fall very quickly. The Glyph is going to delay things, but I'm not sure there's much of a defense coming out from Invasion. Centaur is too far behind to get initiation. They're just delaying as much as possible. They'll go the creep waves with the spams from the Shadow Demon, and that's about all that they can do. The tier 2 tower in mid is going to take a couple of shots from the siege creep, but the tier 2 tower in bottom is the one to actually fall. Death Prophet backs off instead of going for the completed Bloodstone for the Yules. I like this build better than just going for the straight Bloodstone. I think the Yules just offers too much utility to really pass up. With the disruption as well as the Yules, that's a lot of time where the Death Prophet can do damage in team fights while being completely invulnerable to what the enemy team are bringing to the table. Currently looking for an arrow. I don't think that's going to land on anybody, just going to be a scouting one. They catch eyes onto the Ancients, but that's not going to do much. Lone Druid. I think that's his completed Radiance. No, it's just the Relic on his bear. Unfortunate. I thought he'd have it very close, but he is going to be very fast in finishing that one once he just gets a little bit more farming time. Only about 500 gold away. And once we have that Radiance, the team fight in the favor of Invasion is not out of the question. Despite giving up a lot of pickoffs to get to this point, I think it's within the realm of reasonable error, as they're still able to farm better across the map. If we take a look at the last hits, the efficiency from Invasion is just a lot better on their Death Prophet and Lone Druid when you compare it to the farmers of Kingdom, mostly due to the fact that they've been 5-manning, which is all fine and dandy, but they haven't gotten enough to really warrant it.
Radiant's top tower's hurting.
Yeah, tier 1 tower up top is going to be the next position for Kingdom to push down these towers with the Pugna. Until they do have the Radiance on the Lone Druid, they're not really going to want to defend this last tier 1. The tier 2 towers is where it's at this point in the game. Aghanim Scepter complete on the Pugna. The items are coming out for Kingdom here, so they're going to send those out to themselves. Not sure how close the Razor is to getting his on the courier. He has nothing. So yeah, it is going to be Razor Aghanims. It's about 1,000 gold away. Lone Druid completed Radiance now at 20 minutes in after upgrading both of the boots. This is the farm progression that you want to see from your Lone Druid, and he's doing a lot better than I thought he would. when you start out the game by feeding away your bear to the enemy safe lane, maybe they just thought the Lone Druid wouldn't be able to do anything, but they kind of left him alone. They rotated the supports quite a bit and weren't able to do much afterwards. There's your Radiance Bear, and I think it's go time for Invasion. I think they can strike back on one of these tier 2s pretty quickly, but now, this is actually a very big pickup for the Earthshaker. 20 minutes in, it's not the fastest Blink Dagger ever going to see, but on the Earthshaker, this is a very respectable timing, as he's a very slow farming support, mostly due to the fact that he's not able to farm the jungle very effectively. Enchant Totem is kind of nice, Fissure is kind of nice, but it's nothing compared to like a Sand King. But still, after going for Arcane Boots as well as the Blink Dagger, he's going to have it for the next fight, and this is a big leap of power for Kingdom. Up until then, they haven't been able to get any huge team fights in their favor, or rather take initiations in their favor. They've been able to take team fights for sure, but now they have a tool that will allow them to actually start a fight rather than waiting until the Centaur blinks in to start it for them. Up until now, that's worked for them, but I don't think it's going to be the case much longer. This Blink Earthshaker is, although I've been harping about it for quite some time, is important, to say the least. Yeah, Invasion are still waiting on their next item for the Death Prophet. I would have liked to see them put some more pressure onto some of these map objectives. Right now, they're just passively farming. I thought as soon as they got the Radiance, it would be go time for them, but it just isn't so. Double damage rune picked up by the Death Prophet. I think they're going to push down mid with this. I don't see a great reason why not, with the exception being their tier 1 or tier 2 tower up top is probably going to fall. They do have TPs available for most of the heroes, if not all of them. So they should be able to take this tier 2 tower if they don't come back to contest. This is another way that you can counter push, is by putting aggressive pressure of your own. The Glyph comes out from the Dire, and Glyph probably going to come out from the Radiant. Actually, it's still on cooldown for another minute, so they won't have that available. This trade is not going to happen as they're going back in to look for a team fight. It's going to be delayed. They're going to take a little bit of chip on their tier 2, but I don't think Kingdom can commit to this very effectively. Let's see. Centaur is coming in with the rest of his buddies all smoked up. They're going to get here faster than possibly anticipated by Kingdom. They do have sentries on the ground. The Eul Scepter goes the way of the Razor, and now they're jumping from Centaur. It's going to be solo onto Smashy. They don't focus him down. A beautiful Earthshaker initiation with the Fissure into the Enchant Totem, as well as the Echo Slam. They'll be able to bring down 2 almost instantly. Now Razor on the front line, zoning everybody out as the Shadow Demon trying to TP out after Disruption. No Fissure coming out from the Earthshaker, but the Frost Blast is going to be there. Fruits picks himself up a killing spree, as well as a lot of damage going their way. Kingdom's fighting potential was underestimated by Invasion, and by me as well. The Centaur ultimate on the Centaur jump in on the Razor was not the hero that they needed to be scared of. That Razor is too darn tanky with Ogre Club as well as the Point Booster Mech Power Treads. He's sitting at a very respectable 1700 HP, as well as with that Unstable Current completely maxed out. You just can't do that. Tier 2 tower going to fall with no contention. A huge teamfight win for Kingdom. Despite not winning the net worth battle on the top of the board, it is the Lone Druid as well as the Death Prophet there. Their middle of the pack heroes are getting a lot more farm than those of Invasion. Bear going to be tagged by an arrow, and I think this bear is dead. It's getting its links sticked up, and now it's going to be stunned in. That's a dead bear. 300 gold as well as a whole heck of a lot of experience going their way. That's as good as a hero kill. Despite having the instant respawn for that bear, in the next fight, they're only going to be running with one. Not a place that bear wanted to be. Now into the Roshan pick, Kingdom go, or they might go. Let's see. It's not the fastest Roshan by any stretch of the imagination, but with the arrow as well as the lockdown from the Earthshaker, it's definitely doable, as well as the mech on Smashy. It's not very easily anticipated, but with the map control that Invasion have, which really isn't any. If you look at their map vision, around the Roshan pit, it's zilch. They'll know something's going up eventually in the bottom lane since it's pushing out without anybody going to Lone Druid, but by that time, Roshan is probably already going to be dead. So Roshan going the way of Kingdom, going to secure themselves a nice Aegis for one of your heroes. I'm going to presume Smashy, but I wouldn't be opposed to them giving it to start. Earthshaker going to find himself a nice little nook up in the high ground. His Pugna Drain is going to do next to nothing on this Roshan, although he can channel it for the full time. It's not that impactful. Smashy picks himself up an Aegis, and now Kingdom can take fights on their own terms very easily. 30 seconds on the Earthshaker Echo Slam, but now after that Roshan is going to update in the graphs. You can just see them plummet in the favor of Kingdom. It was so even for so long, and then just shoop, that's probably going to be a 5,000 gold lead, and now over 5,000 the experience in favor of Kingdom. The timing wasn't as clearly hit as I thought it would be, but they're still able to get all these tier 2 towers down. They're trading with Invasion, but that's okay because they're getting a lot more kills, even though being fairly even in the towers department. Centaur waiting in the wings up top. If they find the Razor, they can't go for him. He has an Aegis, he has a mech, he has power treads. They can't kill him, and they're going to find out the bear again. This bear, they're going to have a resummon for it, I think, in 18 seconds, but still, this is a big kill if they can get it. Lone Druid is going to be very sad. Will they cancel the thing in time? 3 seconds, juking through the trees. 2, 1, TP out. There we go. Whew. That's a clinch buttocks moment for your Lone Druid, as he's only got to drop the bear very close down. Back to the basic goes, is still TP there, and then heal up his Spirit Bear. But yeah, I think at that point you turn off the Radiance so that they can't find it. I'm actually pretty surprised that they didn't. And, well, luckily for Invasion, wins across the map as the bear, although it was dropped low, gave them enough time to put a lot of damage on this tier 2 tower down bottom with the Exorcism pop by Kiilstofte. Kiilstofte still has some duration on this Exorcism, but now that they've stopped messing around with the bear, who won't be able to take this tower commit fully, he'll be able to clean up this next creep wave, and it's a lot of damage being used, which is useful. It's by no means bad, but Death Prophet is going to be out of an ultimate for about a minute and a half. As in mid, oh no, they find the bear again. I think this bear is not going to be as lucky this time. Or will he? Earthshaker doesn't throw any spells except for the Fissure. I think he could have Force Staffed and gone for the Enchant Totem there. It's a little risky though. I can understand why you don't go for it. But yeah, bear's zoned out. Tier 2 tower is going to fall. We now have the Aghanim Scepter ultimate on the Razor, so that's going to start affecting these towers. And just look at fall with the Pugna Blast as well as the Eye of the Storm. This tower did not stand a chance. And there you go. Not a defense coming out from Invasion as they're busy around the map. The Centaur is nowhere to be found. In fact, he's up top, chilling with the Lone Druid, waiting for somebody to actually go on him.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up.
Yeah, it's going to be a lull in the action as Kingdom, they find all of the tier 2 towers. The high ground push is not the greatest without the ultimate on the Razor, which will be out for 40 seconds. And they still have a little bit of timing on this Aegis, so they might have a little bit of an opening, but I don't think they'll go for it unless they find themselves a pick off. Lich's ultimate is now level 2 with the Force Staff as well as Tranquil Boots. It's about as much as you can ask for your Lich. Earthshaker finds himself his force as well. Earthshaker, a very happy one, sitting with comparable farm to the enemy Centaur Warner. Mech Blink on this Centaur. It's okay, but it's not where you really want him to be. You want the Centaur to be doing a little bit more. He's currently all utility. Maybe a Force Staff on top of this would be nice. Or maybe just larger item, BKB potentially, so he doesn't just get completely counter-initiated by the Fissure, which has happened time and time again, or something along those lines. Atos on the Pugna, it's not going to be incredibly useful versus Centaur ultimate, but once it wears off, their chasing power is going to be greatly improved by this. Also, more intelligence for the Pugna, not a bad thing, extra auto attack damage, extra mana pool, and then the extra health. I think Atos is a fairly underrated item that just gives you a lot, definitely more than the components on their own, and the components aren't bad casually, especially the Vibe Booster. Pipe is going to be the choice for a Centaur Warner. How much damage this Lich ultimate as well as Echo Slam is going to do in the next couple of fights is going to be pretty ridiculous. I can definitely agree with this choice, although is it going to come up before the next fight begins is the biggest question. This Mirana, we haven't been seeing very much from her. A couple arrows here and there, but she's been pretty quiet this game. 2, 1, and 4. It's not shabby by any means. But then again, it's not very flashy either. It's mostly due to the fact that they don't have the best setup for the arrows, but she's had enough, and now she's going to start right-clicking by quite a decent margin. Down mid, the Kingdom are going to go. I'm not sure what the timer for the Aegis is going to be. Looks like they still have at least a minute and a half, at the very least, for this Aegis. Now with the Mjolnir on your Mirana, it's high ground time for everybody. Smashing pops his ultimate, and the chip is going to begin on this tier 3 tower. He can just comfortably stand on the front lines. He does have 3 stacks of the poison, and he doesn't want to get a 4th. The 4th is going to land. Smash is going to eat a bunch of damage. If they get the 5th, it could be huge. Now they jump in. They're going to blow up Smashy very easily. The Centaur is going to be counter-initiated on. He's taking a lot of damage in return. 2D is in the front lines. He's kind of got an awkward situation. Shallow Grave goes on to an illusion of all things. I think that was a misclick coming out from the Dazzle, but it doesn't matter. Centaur is going to be able to escape. That's Aegis down, but still a decent amount of damage to this tier 3 tower, and the siege is not going to stop us. Pugna Blast as well as Eye of the Storm are still going, and there you go. Tier 3 tower down. Kingdom are going to back off. It's going to be a valiant win for them. Lone Druid's knocking on their front door, and they won't be able to catch him out unless an arrow hits. But yeah, that's the damage of it. Lone Druid just doing his best to make something happen. This Lone Druid needs his finish Assault Cuirass ASAP. He's at the top of net worth, he's farming well, he hasn't died, and that's all fine and good. But he needs to translate that into items that actually mean things, and probably fight with this team. Had they had the Lone Druid Bear there doing the Radiance damage as well as maybe looking for a lucky root, that could have gone differently for them. It's still really scary, but I don't know, split pushing is just all that he feels he can do. Lone Druid, now with the Hyperstone as well as the Chainmail, it's more than likely going to be an Assault Cuirass. And now with the extra armor coming out from the Dazzle, they're going to commit for a tier 2 tower of their own. No Aegis on the Razor. This is more or less going to be on even footing unless Earthshaker finds himself a beautiful Echo Sun. We'll start off with the Fissure on the Baron. Bear's pretty much zoned out. They do have the second resum, but they don't want to be forced to use that. Now with the BKB on your Razor that the enemy team don't know about, they should know it's coming. They might be able to find an initiation of their own. Now smoked up. Kingdom are not letting down this pressure and trying to find somebody. The Centaur might be the prey here, but the Lone Druid might also be the target. They ping him out. I think they know what's going up with this Lone Druid. He goes towards the north. They don't find him out just yet. Duty, he's going to start right-clicking away the Baron. They might just throw this gank away for the Baron. They pop the smoke and they find Ghost. He's inside the trees. There you go. Vision from the Plasma Field. Do they have a way to cancel out? Where's the long-range arrow? Lich Chain Frost going to cancel out. Not a snowflake's chance in hell the Ghost is getting out of here. The Fissure to secure things. They're going to find themselves a Lone Druid and a really high priority pick off. It costs them a Lich Ultimate. Definitely worth it. He actually canceled the TP before the Lich Ultimate came through, so I think he could have canceled the animation. But then again, better safe than sorry, I think, when you're going for a kill like that. If it was a support, I think you cancel the animation. If not, YOLO, drop the Chain Frost. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure that there's no technical issues on the stream, so, I don't know, right now you're just going to take a look at the beautiful Lich as he walks through the world. And chat is indeed dead, Mike Laura, so we're not actually going to see anything. I think everybody's watching the Insidious Idol and Titan game. With the exception of the select few that are sticking around through this, which is wonderful. Mid barracks are going to be starting the siege from Kingdom. Without an Aegis, it's going to be a less important siege, but they jump to BKB on the Razor. The center ultimate jump is not going to be as important. The disruption also coming through. A lot of lag on my screen, but there is going to be Kiilstofte on the Death Prophet. She's doing some decent damage, but now brought down in the Fissure. She's going to fall very quickly. The ultimate coming out from Pugna is going to come through. No Echo Slam commit from the Earthshaker just yet. Can't get in there, and now a triple Hoof Stomp coming out from the Centaur. They're going to lose the Earthshaker, which is a great kill for them, and now the Bear is inbound. He's going to get purged up. I think, no, that's the Atos coming out from the Pugna, and now the Spirit Bear is going to start chasing people down. They're going to burn down the Lich, now jump for the Pugna. Double Edge, not going to be enough to kill him, but the Urn Ticket's going to be enough as Dazzle picks up that kill. Now they're looking for on the sidelines. The Lich is not going to be so lucky, and Kingdom a bit off more than they can choose. They find the Lich. See, that's what happens when you fight with your Lone Druid that has all of the farm on your team. It's a lot better for you, and I don't know, not sure why they didn't do it the first time, but they get themselves a tier 2 tower down and bottom with the Exorcism, and then fight with the remainder of it, trading for a beautiful team fight for Invasion. Despite the kill score not agreeing with me before that fight, it was still very even, and well, now the gold graph is just going to zero out completely. 5,000 in the experience, and now the tier 2 tower in mid is probably going to fall. The backdoor protection actually popping in a beautiful time for them. It's actually going to heal all the way back up to half. I'm not sure what the interaction there is, but they'll have plenty of damage. Lone Druid with that demolish is just going to demolish that tower. Pipe now on your Centaur. The team fight from Kingdom is going to get a lot less scary. Their physical damage is more or less all in the Razor. Morana's hitting pretty fast, but a lot of her damage comes out from the Starfall as well as from the Mjolnir, which is going to be magic damage, which is negated by that pipe. Razor pops his BKB, looking potentially for this Dazzle. He gets the Vision of him. Now with the Eye of the Storm working on him, he's going to grave himself, but there's no way this Dazzle is getting out if you're alive. It's a lot of cooldowns wasted, so I think Dazzle's going to be okay with giving him his life. Centaur Ultimate also deployed. I'm not sure exactly why. Yeah, that Centaur Ultimate did very little. They potentially trying to save the Dazzle. That's going to make the trade a little bit worse for Invasion. Roshan's still a minute away, a minute and 10 seconds to be exact, as we are going to have to wait for that timer for Kingdom. I don't think we're going to see an attempted push by them until they have that, as this Lone Druid is getting pretty fat. We have the Assault Cuirass now onto that Spirit Bear, and that Spirit Bear is going to hurt like none other. They still have the Link to deal with the Spirit Bear as well as Ice Armor. It's going to be annoying for him, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Yep, Centaur, full utility. It's fine for the Centaur. He's going to be doing his jobs in the team fights. As we have a smoke down in bottom, they're not going to let up and are looking for another pickoff. Despite not having the most kills per minute, a lot of rotations from both of these teams. Kingdom not going to find the Death Prophet. She TP's out, although they are going to duck through the woods. The smoke doesn't pop, they'll know that she's not inbound. Bear, it's found out inside the enemy jungle. Arrow is going to land onto, and this bear is probably going to die. It's going to be decrepified. The ultimate coming out from Pugna. It's not going to do enough damage, but the right clicks from Rana should, or will they? The bear's pretty darn fast, and I think it's going to be able to make it out, actually. I've been underestimating this bear's escapability power, and I think that decrepified from Pugna hurt more than it helped. I think you just drop your ultimate on it anyway, and then decrep later when you're trying to chase it down. Yeah, a couple of lost auto attacks that would have secured that bear's fate. in a Roshan pit is going to go by invasion. They smoke into this, but I think that the enemy team knows about this. The Earthshaker's pinging it out, and if they get vision of this pit in any shape or form, they can jump in. But the Roshan's falling very quickly to the exorcism from Kisik Imba. They're going to be able to take this Roach very easily. The arrow's going to fly. It's going to land on the center. Now jump in, Echo Slam onto 4. He's going to follow up with the Enchant Totem as well as the Fissure, but it's not going to be enough. The Lich Ultimate's bouncing through inside this pit as well. It's doing a decent amount of damage, but it's still not enough. Buyback from the Earthshaker wants back in this fight as everybody's just falling so low on invasion, but nobody's dying. They are going to lose their lone druid, but he still has the Aegis. The bear, where is the bear in all of this? I think it's actually dead. The bear is going to be resummoned. His ghost is trying to get out as much as he can. The Enchant Totem, it's not going to be there. Smash, does get rooted up. Fissure from long range going to clash out. Kisik Imba is going to survive, however. They don't have any further lockdown. They might look for more, but still, Kingdom take themselves a pretty good fight. Immediately after that Aegis, it cost them a buyback on the Earthshaker, but they lose the Aegis on the Lone Druid immediately, as well as the second life. 2D, you get vision, they silence him up. Oh, no follow-up. The Moran's actually the one doing the chasing. There's another Cryptstorm. 2D can't stick around here. They're going to look for the Fissure. Fissure going to nicely land on Kesikima. Area to follow up. It's going to land, unfortunately, on a creep. Both of his skill is not going to line up as the Aegis goes away. Death Prophet 4-step away by Imba. Imba is going to avoid that Pugna Blast, and Kingdom aren't able to find anything else. Lone Druid's still fat. Death Prophet's still fat, but it's not enough to take fights when you get a 4-man Echo Slam. The Exorcism was still going, so Earthshaker died because of that, but it's still the way to start the fights. Their only initiating hero is going to find himself a really nice initiation. Fighting the Roshan up against the Earthshaker is never really a great thing, although if they got into position a little bit faster, that could have gone better for Kingdom, as they might have been able to find themselves an Earthshaker snatch on the Aegis, which would have been amazing. Saved his buyback and probably gotten more kills. The plan for invasion is turtle, turtle, turtle until the Lone Druid picks up his items. Lone Druid, a hero that scales a lot differently than other heroes. You can get 12 items, and so effectively get 12 slotted. Extra gold on your Lone Druid never really goes amiss. But I'm not sure what he actually wants on top of this. I think after he gets Double Basher and a BKB on his bear, that's pretty much all that he can ask for. Although the extra utilities on the Druid himself will be nice. Not sure where the bear is. Still on cooldown for 20 seconds. I think it got cleaned up twice in that fight. This Lone Druid has not had very good bear luck and has fed away a lot of golden experience because of it. We are going to wait for 8 seconds while Ghost is chilling in base, looking for his Spirit Bear, and Spirit Bear is going to come back very shortly. So come back to Poppy. Lone Druid is going to have his best friend in the whole wide world with those phase boots, as well as the Assault Cuirass and Radiance. Push down mid from Kingdom. They don't have the Aegis, but it doesn't seem to matter, as they're going to be knocking, I think, on bottom lane is where they'll rotate to. No, they still have the range or melee barracks here in mid. The Eye of the Storm popped. The disruption more or less just going to help the Razor. He's going to need a Cryptstorm and has to back off, though he does have the mechanism. Razor illusions are summoned by the Disruptor, or Shadow Demon, excuse me. And we'll do a little bit, but this is just kind of a standoff until something happens. The arrow's not going to land. We do have an Earthshaker Echo Slam, but they're split out pretty well here. There's a couple of moments, but the jump in is from the center, but it's a BKB Razor that all he can find, and he won't actually be able to get anything. The Spirit Bear zoned out, and the melee barracks is slowly taking a lot of damage. 2D is going to be forced back, and it's still an awkward standoff from both of these teams. They need to find the Dream Echo Slam from the Earthshaker to actually make something happen. The Earthshaker is really the only hero that can jump in convincingly against the enemy team, and they're just going to back off, feeling that they need a little bit more oomph in their push. Razor, presumably going towards a Refresher as his next item. Pugna's more or less capped out. The Scythe of Ice is going to be useful, but it's more or less just Pugna being done with all sorts of progression. Lich is on a secret mission to where I have no idea. They could have used him up or something and potentially gotten that kill, but potentially just expecting that to be a very elaborate bait. They had a Blink Fissure to back him up, but that's about it. The bear is pushing out solo top, and well, there you go. The bear is here, and it is going to burn down these creeps, and down back towards the Lone Druid it goes. It's actually very weird that I didn't see the leash being broken there, as Lone Druid finds himself a Vladimir's Offering. Lifesteal for the bear going to be very useful. More armor for his team. Never a bad thing when you're dealing with the Eye of the Storm. This game could go on for any amount of time, and it's unfortunate that I couldn't get Mike Loris back into the game. As in long games like this, it's so darn hard to talk about things because I don't have very much to talk about. We're just kind of waiting for the next big team fight. It's all going to be at this point about who gets the initiation. If Earthshaker finds himself an Echo Slam like he did in the Roshan pit, team fight 1 for them. If Centaur finds himself an initiation on not BKB'd heroes, it's going to be a win for Invasion. I don't think there's much more to say about it. This Lone Druid's happily farming away, the Death Prophet's happily farming away, and, well, Kingdom are also pretty happily farming away. The distribution between the top 5 heroes is more or less the same. 3,000 advantage for the Death Prophet, which is nice, but a lot of that's just saving up for a buyback. She has Shiva's Bloodstone as well as Yule's End Phase, but no, we might actually have a fight breaking out. They find the Fissure of the Earthshaker. Arrow to fly. Mirana leaps forward into everybody. A mistake from 2D. Going to cost her a life, probably. Oh, this Mirana. What was that leap? I don't know. I'm going to assume that was a misclick, but now they're going to find more as the disruption goes the way of the Earthshaker. They're going to try to avoid him as much as possible, trying to catch out the other ones. FC looking for the stomp onto the Lich. He's going to drop the gem over in the trees, but they're going to find that gem one way or another. It's not picked up by anybody. TP, it's going to be picked up by the Centaur, and that's going to be 3 kills towards Invasion as well as the gem, and they just blew the game wide open. As now that's going to force the buyback from Mirana, and without the Earthshaker for 50 seconds, that's their team fighting potential, but their base is going to be under breach as Smashy as well as Star going to be fighting in mid. They buy back in the Lich as well. Death Prophet pockets for Exorcism and Smashy. He gets the BKB off. He's still taking a decent amount of damage. No way to cancel that without Entangle or Bash or whatever. Now Pugna being chased down by the Exorcism. It's not going to do enough damage to Star, and Star, he's still going to be continuously chased. Now with the Centaur coming out from the north, it's not going to be enough. The Yule Scepter is up in the air. The Hoof Stomp's going to miss, but they have enough damage. Double Edge as well as the Crypt Storm. It's going to come through. The Decrepify is going to save him for a little bit more, but only securing the kill for okay. After all is said and done, 4 kills going the way of Invasion with nothing. I repeat, nothing lasting going the way of Kingdom. The mid barracks is still going to be standing very happy, as any damage that they did put onto it is going to be regened, and now that's your buyback spent on your Mirana as well as your Lich. They still have an Earthshaker coming up in 5 seconds, which is nice, but Invasion take a very convincing fight. This is actually going to be a significant lead in the graphs. They haven't completely updated. Currently it's zeroed out, but now Invasion actually looking pretty comfortable in this game. Despite losing a 2-3 as well as range barracks, with heroes that can push out lanes as fast as a Lone Druid as well as the Death Prophet can, that doesn't matter. Death Prophet is hitting her peak, more or less. We're probably going to see a Heart as well as Boots of Travel as their next items, but it doesn't matter. Kesekimba is not really going to get much stronger. Invasion are looking really solid. They're still waiting on the next item for the Lone Druid, and potentially an Aegis. They still can't push into Kingdom very effectively, as high ground pushes up against an Earthshaker is always a nightmare. Fissures delaying things as well as the Dream for the Echo Slams is all that you really need to keep people at bay. We are just going to be waiting. Down in bottom we have a Centaur as well as Death Prophet chilling around, but the entirety of Kingdom's team is bottled up within the base. The drawing on the map is still bugged, but you get the idea. They're pretty much just stuck inside their base. Razor's the only one that's walking out. He's going to buy himself presumably a Perseverance, just playing Ring Around the Rosies with the Secret Shop. No big deal. Kind of just backs off afterwards. Bottom push comes out from Invasion, or at least they're posturing around it, but I'm not sure they can actually do this, as their mid lane is going to push in. Lone Druid's pushing out top, which is all fine and good. It's still not enough. Let's see. We are going to have Mirana farming up some Ancients, and finally Kingdom find themselves a little bit of room to work with in this map, as their mid-tier or mid lane is pushing in their favor because of the range barracks that they've been able to get. If they push any further, they will be jumped on by Invasion, but for now they're safe. Lich drops himself a ward and then backs off. They don't get vision of him. Centaur looking for the jump, but doesn't force that forward and doesn't find anybody else. But slowly but surely the push commences in this lane. They send the Lone Druid Bear towards mid to just Radiance burn down these creeps, and that's plenty in order to get the creeps down and get that lane back in their favor. Centaur is potentially looking for something, but they're not going to be able to find it. A lot of time that they could have used farming their jungle or the enemy jungle, Invasion have wasted just kind of doing nothing. They're still getting more out of this map than Kingdom are doing, and if you just look at the numbers, Lone Druid as well as Death Prophet are farming a lot faster than the Kingdom heroes. It's still not enough to actually push out high ground. They're grouped up and might find themselves a Pugna. Pugna is kind of aggressively in there. Star, they sent her ultimate and blink in. They might be able to find him if he sticks around for another Pugna Blast, and there we go. Pugna Blast is there. Now they jump in, center ultimate. They go into Star. He's going to 4-staff him away, and now the 4-staffs galore. As Star's back inside the base, the Lone Druid is going to be blocked in the bear with the Pugna, but they won't be able to get that. Now Aegis on the bear. You're going to Decrepify, Pugna Blasted up, a 4-staff gaming coming out for both of these teams. We'll keep the bear alive. A lot of hoopla for nothing is... There's actually nothing that happens. Death Prophet TP's back to base and will be spotted out by a very aggressive Observer Ward that has done its duty here. And that's the damage of a Pugna. Liberally using the ultimate is with a 0-second cooldown. No compelling reason not to, unless you're low on mana. But with a 1200 mana on his person, it's enough. I think maybe finishing up that Scythe of Ice is a good choice for Star here, as I'm not sure buyback's going to be that useful, and he'll have it fast enough anyway. He is going to complete up that Scythe of Ice, a lot of mana regen now going his way, 16.8, kind of what you're going to expect from a Timbersaw when he just picks up his Bloodstone. So yeah, a lot of sustain from him. Oh, they find out the Lich. Fruits, he just got jumped up by the Centaur, and Centaur's just going to straight up solo kill him, or will he? Force staff forward, the pig is running pretty darn fast, but it's not able to trample anybody. They jump in with their Death Prophet, but she doesn't have her ultimate. AKB pop by the Razor. Not going to start a link, and a lot of posturing from both teams. I think they're just going to back at the end of the day. Now Pugna, he's got inside the Roshan pit. Force staff away. He's going to go to the high ground, but they find him with the Centaur, and now with the double edge on top of him. It's going to do a lot of damage to the Centaur. Force step back to the low ground. Now the Fisher comes through. It's going to land on Roshan. This is a very awkward fight as OK gets tagged by an arrow. Now they're looking more. The Bear's on the high ground. It is piped up. They can't focus it down. The Crypt Storm's going to land on 2, but does very little damage. Still, nothing has actually broken out. It's amazing. Atos onto the Bear. The Spirit Bear is going to be delayed as they're trying to chase down for more. Centaur has his Blink Initiation. Where is it going to go? He has the 2-1. He's not going to find the 2. He's going to just find Smash. Smash is trying to be focused down. They force staff away the Centaur before the Lich ultimate bounces to anybody else. Now the Echo Slam in the backlines. They get the double kill on the Shadow Demon as well as on the Dazzler. Going to lose their Razor for it. Now the Death Prophet cleaning up house. The Earthshaker going to die. They lose their Lone Druid on the backlines, but now they can't fight into this Exorcism. Exorcism is going to be enough to keep the Death Prophet safe, although if an arrow lands, Death Prophet not going to be caught out by it. Yeah, double damage room picked up by the Death Prophet. 3 for 2 at the end of all of that, and now in the Roshan pit with Kingdom. Razor, I think he just bought back into the game. Yeah, I think so. Into the Roshan pit they go. They're going to start Pugna blasting it away, just right-clicking for all they're worth. But yeah, Pugna Blast goes on the Roshan with the Decrepify. It still does very little damage. Honestly, I'm not sure if that's worth it. It's nice sustain for the Pugna, and he can tank this as long as he doesn't get bashed. Yeah, there you go. Scotty completed by your Mirana. She's going to be hitting more of a right-clicking threat, and that Scotty is actually really good against the Spirit Bear, just keeping it at arm's length. The Atos is doing work. I think this Lone Druid needs a BKB for his Bear, so his Bear can actually get uptimes on heroes. They'll probably have to force staff to break the link from the Razor, but even then, Cheese now going the way of Pugna, I believe, is the hero that picks that up, and now Aegis to the Razor. Kingdom have find themselves another big burst of power. At this point, gold doesn't mean anything. It's all about the team fights and how they go. Kingdom have spent several buybacks, but their items are still allowing them to fight just about as well as Invasion. The item choice for the Lone Druid is not going to be the BKB I was talking about earlier, but instead the Basher for the Lone Druid. The Bear is almost capped. You can replace that Orb of Venom. You can move the Vladimirs over to the Lone Druid. Eventually you'll move the Assault Cuirass to the Druid as well, but that's not for a long time. Right now this Lone Druid is hitting his highest impact of the game. Once we get much further for Kingdom, when they have the double Eye of the Storm for Razor, as well as a Mirana that's right-clicking, this Bear can't actually do anything. He'll run into them and then they'll just die. Up until now the Lone Druid's Bear has been pretty tanky, but it's not going to be enough for much longer. We're nearing the late game, as we are at the late game, for all intents and purposes. Centaur, his next item pickup is yet to be seen. We're not actually going to see anything for him. But yeah, I think the biggest impact of this game right now is who has buybacks and where are these fights going to break out. Kingdom, they've tried and failed at pushing this mid-tier, or this mid lane of barracks. This is probably the easiest place for them to actually push. Although they're just regrouping, they're probably going to wait for this Razor to pick up his completed refresher before they actually go. Centaur has been able to find some decent initiations, but a lot of the force staffs coming out from both of the teams have made it very hard for him to actually catch anybody. 2 on the side of Kingdom, as well as 3 on the side of Invasion. It's just so much kiting from both teams, and they don't have a great way to counteract it. The chase from the Scotty as well as the Atos is going to be useful, but not when they have the Centaur ultimate. They can just run away from the majority of the lockdown that's coming their way. With the exception of the Echo Slam from the Earthshaker, they can even circumnavigate the Earthshaker fissures pretty easily. This game not slowing down in the slightest, or not speeding up in the slightest, but with this pickup for the Razor, it looks like we might be seeing that, is with the refresher ultimate on the Razor. This is I think Kingdom's go time. They are almost capped out on all of their heroes. Mirana still has a couple of items to go, presumably just straight up damage, maybe BKB, Daedalus, and Butterfly as her last 3 slots. But even then, it's not going to give them as big of a leap of power as this refresher is going to be. And if they find the Bear, this could be huge. The Bear's just dropping too low, and with the Scotty, they're going to be able to chase it down. They are going to initiate, and the Bear's actually going to survive. They get the Shivas onto the Earthshaker, now stomp him down, split the double edge, now 2D and a big heap of trouble. Does have the ultimate, but can't get away. Resummon the bear and try to auto-attack him down. They'll be able to do so. That's 2 kills going the way of Invasion. Buybacks available for both, but still a big win. I suppose baited out by the Spirit Bear, but honestly, I thought that bear would die. No resummon available for this fight. It's time to start forcing out those buybacks. Mirana should probably use hers, as should the Earthshaker. No reason to hold on to this. They can fight this very easily. The Exorcism is on the ground. They're linking up the bear. The bear losing a lot of its damage. 84 is going to be the net sum that the Razor steals from it, and now they're going to accept the Death Prophet. They don't find anything off of that. The buybacks forced out. That's all that they really needed. Yep. Invasion find themselves a little bit more room to work with, but this room might be stopped if they find anybody with the smoke. Kingdom are looking for it. But Invasion are too far back. They're grouped up enough to where if they get caught out, they won't get caught out. They'll have enough backup there. Death Prophet and Dazzle and Mid are being pinged out, but they're going to be back into their base. I don't think the smoke is actually going to do anything, and they're just going to break it. Mirana attacks a creep, and the jig goes up. Maybe just the mentality that there's somebody smoked, they might be backing off elsewhere, and they're currently just completely in their base. Lone Druid Bear, the only thing that is outside of it, currently just burning down creeps. Kingdom, they want to go for the high ground push. They have the Aegis, despite losing the buybacks on the Earthshaker and Mirana. Even if they had buybacks here, it wouldn't have mattered because they can't join the fights fast enough. There's your BKB, there's your Eye of the Storm. He's going to have a second one very shortly. Refresh, Eye of the Storm, and then he's going to have the BKB available. The melee barracks is probably going to fall. They're going to Shiva's Guard to delay things now. The Arrow to Fly, not going to land on anything. There's no initiation. There's the initiation from Centaur, but it's not enough. The Lich Ultimate bounces through to him, and now back to the Death Prophet. They're going to be able to Delta Split after that, but the prize is won. Kingdom take themselves a melee barracks and still have the double Eye of the Storm running, but not for long. They might be able to take this tier 3 tower. The net goes the way of Smashy. Smashy's going to be brought down, but the Eye of the Storm is still going to persist with the Aegis, and it's shredding apart these heroes, as well as the Bear. The Scotty going to start working on the Spirit Bear. Smashy comes back in. There's a nice jump in from the center. Only catches out 2D, however. Now with the Mjolnir, he's going to eat the cheese, trying to fight up against this. The BKB and Smashy's not going to be enough to actually keep him alive here. And they, although they get the melee barracks, might not be enough if they lose everybody. That's going to be 3 down, triple kill for Ghost. Now they're finding 2D. 2D is going to die one way or another. Man fighting up against the Bear. He's not going to be able to win that man fight. And Pugna, the only survivor from Kingdom. That is a huge opening for Invasion. That melee barracks would fall sooner rather than later anyway. And at this point in the game, it doesn't matter. That's 60 seconds before Invasion have to deal with a single hero, with the exception of the Pugna. And with 90 seconds for the Mirana, as well as 50 still on the Razor, I think they can take themselves a lane of barracks. Top lane is already pushing out, and I think he just boots a travel in and go for it. Pugna can't defend against the Spirit Bear. Decrepify will be useful. He can hex it up. He can delay it as much as he wants, but I think this is just go time. Still 30 seconds. 30 seconds for a Lone Druid is all the time he needs to take a lane of barracks. He's knocking the uptime onto those structures just yet, but I think this is going to even up our barracks trade. I don't think they'll take a advantage, but even after that, they can still fight. No Aegis on the enemy team. That's really what allowed them to take that, and just look at that Lone Druid Bear chunk through the structures. 5 seconds. They're delaying as much, but let's see. I think it's only going to take one more, and they're just going to throw it. They're going to put the ring on it here as they're going for the tier 4 towers. I don't like this choice, but oh, I think they can actually do it with the Death Prophet Exorcism as well as Lone Druid Bear. Just look at those structures fall. No glyph for 5 minutes. They need to jump in with something, anything. Their Ancient is going to die. Centaurs, their zoning mount gets a double hoof stump. That's all they need. Bear, just hit the stupid building. The building's going to die. There's nothing they can do. They silence up too. They jump in with the Lich. Chain Frost, anything. They decrepify up the Bear, but it's still falling to the Exorcism. That's going to be GG. Coming out as the Ancient falls. After a disastrous fight, they didn't have any buybacks. They already spent them on their Earthshaker and Mirana, and a solo Pugna could not defend. I didn't think Invasion would go straight for the throne, but they just go for the jugular. That's going to be the end of Game 1 here of the Best of 2 series. Luckily enough, Game 2, I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris, but don't go anywhere, as that is going to come up very shortly. Should get into the lobby. So thanks for watching. We've been HeflaTV. See you soon.